And I'm happy to say that because of the work that we've been doing, 12 students in our area are happier, more self-confident because they are mastering reading and math.
You're going to have to stay close to that.
That's fun.
Go ahead.
I thought you might like to know a little bit about me. I've been a resident of Gate City now for about 4 years. I serve on several boards in the area. I'm a graduate of King University with a degree in business administration. I work 9 hours a week for Race 1 as an adult education instructor and literacy tutor. I'm a realtor. I'm focused pretty much on Scott County and bringing folks here. I'm a former substitute teacher at our elementary school here in Gate City. And as you know, I'm the founder, manager, and coordinator of IVLS Tutors. And here's our team. Here we have Jenny Page, Lisa Bevins, Kathleen Feinstein, and at the bottom here we have Grant O'Quinn. He just recently joined us. He's a recent graduate of UVA Wise with an education degree. You might wonder why it's called IVLS Tutors. That's because my dad's name was Ivil Mead, and he grew up with dyslexia and was told several times and led to believe that he was stupid. His teachers told him that because at the time they didn't understand dyslexia. But he went on to accomplish some really great things, and I was very proud of him. So when I started this volunteer organization, I wanted to name it after him to honor him. So this will give you an idea of where our students are coming from and what grades we are tutoring. We have 5 students from Duffield, 4 from Gate City, 2 from Lebanon, which I found kind of surprising, 1 from Nicholsville, and 1 from Yuma. And then we have mostly first graders. We have 5 first graders, 3 third graders, 2 fourth graders, 1 sixth, and 1 ninth grader.
We've added about 5 additional students since I did this presentation.
How are we doing? I'll let some of the parents and a student answer that question for me.
Just get the next key. There you go.
From Rita Walters. IVLS Readers is a wonderful program to help struggling readers. My granddaughter Emmy can't wait for Saturday to come. She loves Miss Jan, Miss Jenny, and Coach Rogers. They work with each other according to their individual needs. Emmy has been 4 times, and I can see an improvement in her reading. This program is a blessing. I wanted to thank all the volunteers at IVLS Readers, Gate City, Virginia, for taking the time to work with the kids in our community. Wheeler's confidence is growing with every session, and he pulled his reading grade from a D- to a C this mid-9 weeks. They are doing such a great thing. There are so many kids struggling with all aspects of school after COVID, and if they don't build those skills in the early years, those struggles will continue. If your child is struggling with reading, don't hesitate to reach out to Jan Mead and bring your child to the library on Saturday mornings. Wheeler has started to look forward to it, and a plus is I get an hour to browse the library, so I look forward to it too.
That was posted on our Facebook business page. This is the best part.
Okay. What's your name?
Little.
Wheeler? All right.
And so I want you to tell me, I think you are one of the first people that came to Ivil's Readers. What's your experience been like? Do you like it?
Yeah, I love it.
You love it? Have you noticed a difference in school?
A little bit.
A little bit? Can you tell what difference that you've been having? Did you get better grades or what's going on?
Better grades.
Better grades? Yeah. And it's fun, right? Have you made any friends here at Ivil's Readers? Yeah? What's the best thing about it, do you think?
You got nice people.
Yeah? Miss Jenny? Isn't she the best?
And Miss Jen.
Oh, well, thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate that. Okay. Well, so you want to tell everybody else they ought to come and get some help with their reading
Yes.
and math? Yeah, it's a good thing, isn't it?
Yep.
Are you looking forward to school next year?
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you so much for letting me record you.
You're welcome.
I think it's important for people to understand that Ivil's Tutors is not established to offer homework help. Our approach is quite different. We want to find the children who are not so much left behind as they've been dragged along by the curriculum and the grade promotion, and they are, in essence, they have a gap in their learning that's not very functional. A student who is in the 4th grade, for instance, should know the multiplication facts, and because they're not able to build on those to learn fractions and algebra and things like that. Anyhow, what we like to do is bridge the gap between the student's independent level of functioning and what the grade level curriculum requires. And in order to do that, Ivil's Tutors offers the student one-on-one time where we go back and assess through inventory assessments that are research-based. We assess them to find their level of independence, and we slowly build on that so that the student will have some measure of success as well as learning new material. We give guided to unguided instruction. It allows the students to build confidence. They are happy. We see them with smiles. We are able to show measurable improvement to parents, and we soon find that we are closing the gap between where the students started and where they are in their grade level. And all of a sudden, it just doesn't seem so overwhelming to them anymore.
Just go like that. Yeah, what happened, the governor set aside $30 million in grant money to give parents a chance to pay for tutors. And so we got registered right away, and that's how we kind of got going on more than just an hour a week at the library. You can go ahead and.
So we were rolling along quite well in February and in March, just doing volunteer tutoring at the library. And then I read in March that the governor was setting aside $30 million for an accelerated education grant. And this was to help with the same thing that we were trying to help with. And so Jenny got approved. She was, I think, one of the first teachers to get approved as a vendor for the grant money. You really weren't able to even apply until May. And so after Jenny got approved, we rented some space in the Pioneer Center in Duffield and began advertising and recruiting students. And before long, we had 9 students that were coming to see Jenny on a one-to-one basis, once or twice a week in Duffield. Additional students wanted to join us, but in later on in May and early June, applications were being held up. And then we found on the website that the reason was that in almost, a month's time, they had gone through $30 million, which really speaks to how great the demand is for this kind of service. And it kind of left us without the funds to keep accepting students.
What we are doing really matters. It matters to us, it matters to these students, it matters to their parents. And so I decided that we will raise our own money. I formed a nonprofit organization, and I'm waiting on tax-free status from the federal government, and I'm actively seeking to raise some funds so that we can continue to exist.
I have that 501c.
We need to raise money. Our approximate labor cost per child is $200 monthly. At the current level, we're paying about $400 weekly, or $1,600 for the month. And the demand is so high. I know that this cost is going to continue. We get such heart-wrenching messages from grandparents and moms that really need help for their children. And it's hard to say no to that. We really want to continue to grow in Duffield and the Gate City area. Honestly, I don't know what the future holds, but I hope it includes IELTS tutors in Scott County. I know that all of you are aware, just across the border in Tennessee, they are failing third grade students for the year if they do not pass the reading TCAP at the end of the year. I know that there's a better way to help students than failing them for the year. And I believe that it is with individual instruction and tutoring. It works, and we're very good at it. And I hope that we can stay an organization with proper funding and continue to help more students, because 12 is just the beginning. We have so many more students that we can help. Thank you so much for giving me the time to tell you about IELTS tutors, where we've been and where we hope to go. It means so much to us. And please consider funding our organization, because again, it's going to help so many students in our area. Thank you for listening to me.
And I think there's one more slide.
So the question is now, do we grow or do we shrink? If we don't get funding, we will definitely go back to working 1 hour a week on Saturdays at the library or possibly somewhere else and help students as we can. But with funding, we can recruit more teachers, both active and retired, who want to help students after school. Since many of our students live in the Duffield area, we'd like to continue our location there. And I really want to find a location in Gate City where we can meet with students. But it really all depends on funding.
And the last one. There you go. That's all of us and our incorporation document there. We are a 501c3 now, thanks to a local county that helped me put that in place quickly. So that's good. And this is the entire team right here. So if you have any questions at all about teaching, they're the experts. I can't help with that. Thank you again for listening.
Board have any particular questions to address? I guess the question for me is asking for funding. Is that a financial amount?
It's hard to say. We need to finish out July
and to pay our teachers, that's about $2,000. But the funding's gonna need to continue, so, you know, if that's all we can ask for right now, we'd be happy with that. But, I think that we have, a lead on a good location where we can meet in Gate City, at least for 2 hours, twice a week, for after-school programs. And the demand keeps growing, so as we bring on more students, you know, our time is limited, so we'll have to bring on more teachers. And we may get lucky enough to get some retired teachers that will just volunteer, but, a lot of them are gonna wanna be paid at least quarterly. And we're paying people $25 an hour who have, teaching degrees.
Can I ask a couple of questions?
Sure.
When are you serving the kids, I guess, is,
During the summer, we have a regular office in the Duffield Pioneer Center, and Jenny and Kathy are working down there on a regular basis, and they're scheduling their own hours. Do you want to talk about how many hours you're working down there?
Right now, I'm working Tuesday through Fridays,
okay,
approximately 9 to 3. Sometimes 5 hours, sometimes 6.
how about during the school year, are you planning, is that one of the things you're getting funded to continue the school year?
I'm hoping to go down to a couple hours a week.
Because that's what we were thinking, that, if we had a place where we could meet from 4 to 6, a couple of days a week, and maybe on Saturday, then we could work with students during the school year.
And we still keep the free hour at the library.
Those are the salaries, yeah.
Yes.
As a meet and greet and to figure out who would work well with the student.
Do you all use the Board of Guild Band, is that the program you're using a specific program?
We're using a combination from the Eckwill Shanker inventory that I learned at UVA-Wise, and then from there we use the Dolch list, and we use level readers and IXL, using IXL, different things like that.
The adult program is allowing me to use Power Up for these students too, so that's really helpful. In the future, I'd like to buy our own subscription to some software because it is really helpful. Lisa is also working in the Duffield office. How often are you down?
I'm down there on Fridays, 2 students on Fridays, and I have the library, the 3 hour, I work with a couple students there right now. I've got some in the wakes that we're waiting on, to get a place to meet with them in Gate City, so it'll be about 6 altogether.
The library's been really great. I love the people there, but it's just not a nice meeting place, especially if you have more than one student. We had 2 students last Saturday. Grant worked with one of them, Lisa worked with the other one, and we just had dividers to separate them. And it was so hard because there was children in the background making noise, and then both teachers were working with their students right here, and you could hear each other. So it's not ideal, but we're making do until we can find a spot.
Did you say that you possibly found somewhere some kids?
Yes.
Can you show what that is?
I don't mind sharing, I don't think they would mind. The Methodist Church in Gate City is, the pastor is talking to the board and getting their approval hopefully, and then he's gonna get back with us. So that would be nice because it has plenty of parking and a playground outside.
Anybody else have any questions?
Can I just make one comment then? Stand up, Grant. Grant just joined us. He's a recent graduate of UVA-Wise, and he is so good with the students. I wanted to do a video of him to show you, but there was so much noise that it would just have been irritating. But he met with the student the first time last week, and then this Saturday when he came back with a bag of goodies for her. He's going to make a really good teacher. If you guys have an opening, you should consider it.
Brett, what do you need your degree?
I got it in history, secondary education is my minor, so.
He's great. I had to give him that one.
Anything else?
Thank you very much. All right, we'll move on. We got a ballot health telemedicine presentation by Ms. Guy or Rachel Kane.
It's actually gonna be Courtney Bowl.
All right, that's even better, so.
Courtney, I'm assuming I'm a fan of white again.
I do not have an actual presentation, Mr. Smith, or did they send it?
Digital care, there's a something here.
They might have sent the video.
Okay,
They sent something to Mr. Ferguson and he forwarded it on for us.
perfect.
Yep, it's her video.
Okay,
Is this okay?
this is fine. This is great.
Just a
Yeah.
minute.
Ballot Health Nice-Walker Children's Network is taking healthcare directly to schools in the Appalachian Highlands. If the school nurse decides your child needs an evaluation by an advanced provider, we can arrange a telehealth visit right from the school. With your consent, of course. You can even be included in the virtual visit from wherever you are. Through this platform, our providers can use an exam camera and virtual tools such as a stethoscope and otoscope to assess your child. From fever, cold, and flu symptoms to skin rashes and limb strains, students can be seen by a provider without leaving school. Prescriptions can be electronically sent to your preferred pharmacy, and your pediatrician will receive a summary after each visit. Ballot Health is going farther than any provider in our region to create an enhanced, personalized healthcare experience like never before. Contact your child's school and make sure your children have the option for a convenient telehealth visit when they need it. Through Ballot Health Nice-Walker Children's Network, we're bringing healthcare and hope to our region's children and families.
Okay, so Mr. Ferguson and I had the opportunity to meet with Penny Potts and Stacy Ely a couple of weeks ago. And tonight we have Rachel Coon here. She is the Director of Operations for Virtual Health. And so basically, if we enter into this agreement with them, at the beginning of the year, consent forms will be sent home to every parent with their beginning of the school year paperwork. It's completely at the parent's discretion if they want to participate in this or not. There's no cost to the school. If they choose to participate, everything's in the consent form. It's either a $49 flat fee. Of course, Medicaid can be billed, those visits are typically free. Or if, say, just I asked specifically about this. For example, our insurance net costs could be billed and it would be a $25 copay, just like if you left and took your child for urgent care. The only difference is they are being diagnosed right there in our school clinic by a valid physician, nurse practitioner, or physician's assistant. Then, before they leave, if there is a prescription needed, that would be called into the pharmacy and the parent can pick it up. We don't have anything to do with the billing of this, that all goes through Ballot Health. And one good thing is they do have self-pay, but if parents reach out to them that, let's say they don't know how to get Medicaid or their Medicaid has been dropped, things like that, they have nurse navigators that can help them to get back on the right track with that, and we'll work with them on that. All of the equipment is provided at no cost. The neatest thing to me as a nurse is that each clinic will have an otoscope and a stethoscope that will look into their computers, and the doctors can see their ears in real time, they can hear their heart in real time. So they are making that diagnosis, because clearly us as nurses, we cannot make a diagnosis. And that's always been a holdup in our clinics, especially for things like ear infections. We can look at a kid's ear and we typically know what's wrong with them. But as nurses, we can't make that diagnosis and cannot provide prescriptions to those kids. So we have to send them home. With this program, if we move forward with it, if the doctor looks in their ears and sees that there's an ear infection, he or she can go ahead, call that student in a prescription, and if the parent wants that student to stay at school, at that time we could administer Motrin or Tylenol, as long as the child wasn't in severe pain and needed to leave. And it would cut down on the amount of time that they needed to miss school. In addition, Ballard will be providing to our school clinics strep tests, COVID tests, and flu tests that we can perform to help with that diagnosis before the child leaves our clinic. So there's no question, we have testing that will be done to show what the child has. So basically, when a student comes into the clinic, we would assess the need for them to have a virtual health visit. Not every student's going to need a virtual health visit. If they're coming in for just, your run-of-the-mill headache, stomachache, they may not need anything like that. But if they do, we'll verify that they have a consent form on file first. And if they do, we'll call the parent to obtain permission for a healthcare visit that day with valid health. The best thing about this is parents have the option to either come to the school or meet virtually when their child is having their visit with valid health. So we'll connect with the valid health provider if the parents give consent and opt to go ahead and do a visit that day. And then the visit's going to take place. The provider does orders whatever testing they feel like is needed and performs the exam. And then at that time, any needed medications will be sent straight to the pharmacy from Valid Health, and then they'll decide if the student needs to leave or not. And of course, we'll still be able to fall back on our protocols. For fevers, obviously that kid's going home, has to stay home for 24 hours. But with this, if they're leaving our clinic at noon one day and they're going home with a strep diagnosis and they're going straight to get their medicine, they're going to be, say it's today, they're going to be able to come back on Thursday. Where if you have a working parent, that child may not be able to get to the doctor until late that afternoon or the next day, which is going to prolong how long it takes to start medicine and possibly prolong how long they're going to be out of school. And it's not foolproof. I mean, there'll still be kids that, have to miss longer, and we'll have to look at those on a case-by-case basis. But we do hope that it helps too with attendance for these kids that really don't be doing this in school. Can you think of anything else, Rachel?
So open not just to students, but faculty as well. We have a lot of other school systems where we have a lot of faculty that use it during their planning period, things like that. So I think if I cut down on absences or people needing to leave early from staff too. But I think that you covered it very well. If, say they're doing an exam and a visit and that provider hears something maybe during the use of the stethoscope and says, I'd really like to rule out pneumonia or something like that, they can also drop an order for that patient to go get an X-ray done outpatient. It really cuts down, Lee is a working parent, looking at it from that way, it cuts down on that time of you're having to leave work early, you're having to take your kid out of school, you're having to go sit at urgent care for potentially hours, depending on coming here especially, so. I think that other than that, you covered it very well.
So there's other school systems in the area that use this already?
Yes. Lee County is using it. Russell County is submitting for approval tonight.
Yes.
Kingsport City uses it.
Yes. We have Washington County, Tennessee, Smith County, Elizabethton City, I always forget some. Kingsport City, I'd say that they are our busiest.
Okay. Could I, a little clarification here, in the paperwork it says $30 a visit, I think you mentioned 49, is it went up?
The parent consent form says 49.
It's 49, yes.
Self-pay says if you want to do it, it's $30 per visit, is what it says in the self-pay, I frequently ask questions. Does my insurance company, if you choose to pay the flat rate of $30 per visit?
Did he give him the one that is for the new that Ballard's doing? That's just a flat rate.
It could be, yeah, you might have an impact in our trade.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure that.
Yeah, it is $49.
So it's $49.
Yes, and.
Or they can bill insurance.
Correct.
And
And that is what is in the parent consent form, because I have a copy of it right here.
I think that might be enough.
Any idea on what a strep test, a flu test, COVID test is that? So
Yes.
package?
The cost of
Yeah.
those, yes, it is in here. A flu test is $6.60. A strep test is $3.30, and a COVID test is $6.21.
And,
If you're self-paying.
and, gotcha, and that we'd make sure they know that ahead
Yes.
of time on that cost.
Yes, I would instruct our nurses when we call to remind them of the fees each time, just because we know how that goes. And, I will tell you as a nurse, we have hoped for something like this for years, just because a lot of times we feel helpless when we send those kids home. We can't make a diagnosis. My hope is that this helps those kids that their parents don't have time, to take them to the doctor. You know, we've got a lot of parents that they can't take off work. It would mean them buying groceries or not in a lot of cases. We've also got a pretty high percentage of Medicaid kids, and I really feel like that's the kids this is gonna help, because we'll be able to speak with those parents and explain that there'll be little to no cost, most of the time no cost with these. And all they gotta do is come pick their kid up and take them to the pharmacy. So as a nurse, that's my hope for these kids, is that we can get them treated and diagnosed the way that they should be.
I think just to build off of that, that's the success stories we like to hear. We get really close to our school nurses, and we have, most everyone we work with in our other school systems truly care for the children. They know which parent doesn't have a form of transportation, can't even get to school to sign the consent form, so we do some workarounds there to try and even get that consent form signed, much less drive the child to get care after they get off the bus at the end of the day, so.
Who files the insurance? Ballot files the insurance?
Ballot files the insurance, yes, yes. We don't have anything to do with collecting anything from the students. Once they leave our clinic after the telehealth visit, that part of it's out of our hands.
I have a question, you might have already addressed it, but what if a pediatrician is not with Ballot Health?
So if they're not with Ballot, we ask for pediatrician information in these consent forms in this packet that goes home. We build that into our electronic medical record system, and we still have the ability to send the records to them after every visit. Also, certain other providers within the area, like State of Franklin, Healthcare Associates, and others, have a way to look into our electronic medical record system as well.
We have access to Epic.
Yes.
And that was one of my questions in the meeting in Mr. Ferguson, because especially these kids who have recurrent ear infections, recurrent strep throat, we need for those doctors to have those records, because there could come a time that they need a tonsillectomy or tubes put in their ears. So you've got to have those records where they need to be.
Anything else? I'm gonna make a motion for approval of using this. I think it'll help the staff and the kids, but I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second. I'll second.
Got a motion, and you got a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I understand, we talked about it, so.
All right. How'd you know?
I really feel we need to talk about it.
All right. So that's two, what you say?
I said, I would really like a little bit more information
We could,
from the Ballot Health.
All right, we'll table it then.
Is there anything that I can take back for the more information that you said you'd like?
We'll just discuss it, and,
I can work with the board and get that, the coordinating, we can communicate that to you, that'd be okay?
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for the presentation. All right, public comments, anybody wish to address the board at this time? All the numbers are counted for, I guess not, so we'll move on right on. But superintendent report, Mr. Ferguson's not here tonight, so I'm gonna hand it over to Assistant Superintendent Jason Smith.
Mr. Chairman, the board do have a few things on behalf of Mr. Ferguson. First, we had an incorrection in our 23-24 salary scales. We had placed 3 instead of 2 in our central office staff and step 2. We have corrected it to the correct amount for the central office salary scale. So presented for your all's approval.
I'll make it.
Got a motion for Mr. Sally?
Second.
Got a second for Mr. McConnell. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Have the Appalachian Football Association proposal. This would be from 23 to 24 season for officiating for our football games. So that is for your approval.
Just for 2 or 3 years, 3 years? 2 years.
23 and 24.
Same covers back here. The exempt officials still in the central advocate assignment, signed by the principal of the school, this letter would be on the school letterhead, should officially name the official for the school year for requested exemption and a brief description of the reason for the sport of football. Exemptions will be honored for the regular season. So you go play this guy the first of the year and he screws you, and you end up seeing him in a playoff game, a semifinal game, and he shows up, call your game. I don't like that. I've seen it happen. That needs to be looked at. And he's not there for a reason.
Coach, which
You know, and I've lived that scenario.
which part is that on this?
Look at it right there.
Five.
Exempting officials number 5. For the season, in the playoffs, there he comes. I lived it, gone through it.
And he'll get his revenge.
He did just show us a champ, but I'm sure he seen
Do you all want to table that while we see if there could be an altercation? Get with Will to see if we want to alter that contract?
Let's see what they can do about that. I think it's a school's brains, even if the Kyler not be able to show up at a semifinal football game and call your game because it just says during the regular season, which he did. You know?
We table.
That's the only thing I saw on that. I hate to say anything about it, but it is what it is.
That's why you're on board, Mr. Ashford. You got that?
I'm saying.
Yes, sir. We'll table it. Thank you.
I do have the approval for the officiating of our baseball and softball games for the 23-24 baseball, softball season through the Appalachian Umpires Association. This is the proposal. And it says the same thing.
Same
That's
thing.
right.
But you don't want to hire him. I mean, really. I mean, they got all kinds of different, I mean, you got one guy you don't want there, and here he comes to your playoff game. How close you think his ball is right on
That table,
Yeah, I think we'll get with Will and see if there's anything to be offered to that. I don't know that there can, but we can always.
Well, you just check that.
But we'll definitely have to make a decision.
They've got all kinds of playoff games going on, they play, they don't have to show up. And they can't have your place. Give us some credit. We want to make it work. I've got other things, they have a risk, some of them. Put them out for, see what happened in this situation, and kid, man, got ejected for nothing. And I challenged it. And he was back playing. And you know how that goes. Then he shows up at 12.
For your all's informational purpose, the 2023 Virginia School Survey of Climate and Working Conditions was submitted this really winter. We did it in February, January and February, I believe is when it was put together, and you can see the survey responses for the division. The good news is, as a whole, that our staff and our students' climate is, for the most part, higher in our division than they look across the region.
And really,
Or the
that's,
state. Yes, sir.
it was really good. Yes.
Any particular question on that? Okay, have the Head Start financial report for March 2023. This will be their final report for your approval.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
A motion from me and a second from Mr. Sally. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
We have the Head Start financial report for May of 2023.
I make that motion.
Motion from Mr. Housewright.
Second.
Got a second from Ms. Gilmore. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Also have the approval of the Head Start self-assessment results for 2023.
I'll make that motion.
Motion from Mr. Housewright.
Second.
Second from Mr. Sally. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Last two items the Head Start has is the Director's Report from June of 2023 and the Head Start Focus Area 2 Program Performance Summary. Those are for your information. I assume I don't see an improvement beside that, so I believe that is for your all's information. Is there any specific question you have on those?
I just know that everybody knows, those ladies who do a lot of work out. Got a situation they need to work already did a very good job. And now they're not allowed to do jobs.
Very hard work. Mr. Chairman, Board, Mr. Ferguson, let me fly this time. That's all I have on behalf of him.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. My understanding, we need to go into a closed meeting.
Yes, I move we enter into closed meeting to discuss candidates for employment and assignment, performance of Head Start personnel, teachers, coaches, secretaries, custodians, maintenance staff, cafeteria staff, as provided in section 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia as amended.
Second. We got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll adjourn for a while. Thank you all for presenting.
Mr. Chairman, we're across the highway.